can't believe I am back in Detroit. I had rented a limousine.
So, where you headed there, sir?
This most annoying chauffeur. I told you to keep driving!
Sir, I need to know where I'm going.
I told you that is on a need-to-know basis. I will let you know when we reach the destination.
Yeah, but, what's that my wife telling me? You gotta have a destination. That my father, yeah, my
I
father.
decided to put up the divider. I couldn't listen to his rambling. I had to think of the task at hand. I have to do this for him.
Detroit is an interesting city, especially for a French immigrant such as myself. Of course, French people have been here long before I moved here after the war. I should introduce myself. My name is Darren DeChaye. I am a private investigator.
For a moment, I thought they had torn it down. Then I saw it. Stop the car!
Sir,
I said stop the car!
What's going on?
I had no time for his nonsense.
You're insane.
I stepped
you
out
crazy
of the
old
car
German guy.
and made my way towards the warehouse. I didn't mind the limo driving off. I was where I needed to be.
I was in my office admiring the pistol my father gave me when I set off to the States. He was worried about me, although I had many cases back in France that nearly killed me. I was reminiscing about my boyhood days when I heard a knock at the door. It was to be my first case in America. One moment! I put my pistol into the drawer. And address, my first client. Come in!
I struggled with the door. Weather and neglect had taken its toll on the warehouse, but I managed to enter. What I found was nothing.
She entered my office. She was a beautiful blonde with legs that didn't stop. She wore a red dress that teased the senses and a bright red lipstick that stole a man's focus. If I had seen her in the street, I would have propositioned her, but I was on the clock, so she clearly was here to proposition me.
I could use your services, Mr. Decay.
It's Decay.
Excuse me?
I should have been used to people getting my name wrong. It was happening all the time. Never mind. How can I help you?
I looked around the warehouse, but it seemed my journey was for naught. Until I saw a loose plank on a wall. It seemed out of place.
The woman looked around as if she were being watched.
I wasn't sure who to turn to. This is such a sensitive.
I have dealt with the sensitive cases before. You can't surprise me. The woman gave me a doubtful look, but shrugged.
All right.
She reached into her purse and pulled out a photograph.
This was stolen from me.
I took the photograph and studied it.
I moved the plank, revealing a hidden door. I remember you. I opened the door and stared down into darkness. Luckily, I had brought a flashlight, which I hoped would be enough. I hope there are no surprises. I mustered my courage and went down the stairs.
The photo was of an amulet shaped in the form of a wolf head. Its eyes were ruby. I've never seen anything like it. It seemed like a peculiar item. I needed more information. What is this?
That is the lupus intus. It is very important. We get it back.
This woman had done her research back in France. I had dealt with cases of a curious nature. Most of my jobs were looking for lost items or disloyal spouses, but I could get cases of the occult persuasion, so I had dealt with the undead and mystical objects. That part was something I did not advertise for obvious reasons.
When I made it to the bottom of those stairs, I was shocked by what I saw. There was a maze made up of various items. I shook my head. They have been busy since I left.
I made my way through the city, following the lead that the woman gave me. I went on the cover of night so that I would not be disturbed. I found the headquarters. It was a place called the Lobo's Lounge. I felt it was a bit of the nose, but I was not there to judge names.
I don't know how long I had been in that maze, but I was excited to find something. What is this?
I have found a nearby alley next to the club. I looked around to find a window that led into the wine cellar. That was my entrance. My entrance wasn't too bad. Ah! Oh! Oh! At least there were some sacks to break my fall. I sneaked my way into the main floor. I managed to find my way through the club without bumping into anything, nor being detected, which really surprised me. I made my way into the main office and rifled through the desk. It didn't take me long to find the amulet.
I had found the amulet. Have you been here this whole time?
I was making my way out of the club. I was very suspicious of how easy it was until the lights turned on, revealing 5 mobsters standing before me. Their leader glared at me.
I believe you have something that belongs to us.
I stared at that amulet for a long time. How long have you been here?
I got myself into a defensive position. I was not afraid of some mobsters. I had trained extensively at Savate, and I had my gun. Wait, I did not have my gun. Why didn't I have my gun? My thoughts were interrupted by their leader.
If you give it back now, we'll let you leave.
Did you steal it fair and square? The mob boss shook his head at me.
We didn't steal anything. It's ours.
I would expect you to say something like that.
I don't think you know who you're working for. I don't think you know who we are.
I know you are the brotherhood of the bite. The mob leader rolled his eyes at me.
You just know a name, genius. Do you know who we actually are? Hell, I bet you don't know what we actually are.
I glared at the mob leader curiously. I'll bite. Who and what are you then? The mob leader chuckled at me as he extended his hand.
No, you don't. Now.
The mob leader gestured towards me.
Hand over the amulet.
I clutched the amulet tighter and glared at the mob leader. You can try to take it from me. The mob leader dropped his hand and sighed.
You asked for it.
The mobster started contorting in pain. Which confused me. What is... Oh! To my horror, the men started to change. Fur-covered muscles tore the clothing. Their mouths grew into toothy more. Their hands became common claws. They had become I see now. I was in over my head.
I continued to stare at the amulet. and I threw it over my shoulder. You are not my quarry. I continued my trek through the maze.
My choices were to give up the amulet or fight the werewolves. I chose a third option. I jumped through the window. Luckily, I spent my stint in the circus, so I knew how to break my fall as I hit the ground. As soon as I got to my feet, I started running. I was not sure how long I ran, but I was feeling the burn. As I ran, I thought about this case. It was strange. Everything about this case felt off. When I got back to my office, I could not shake the feeling that something was wrong. I didn't remember saying yes to the case. I didn't remember bringing my father's gun. I didn't remember asking for payment. None of that was like me. I got to the door of my office and turned the knob. Then I stopped as a realization came to me. Oh my God. I remembered what happened. The woman suddenly stood up. I was confused. What are you? Before I could finish my sentence, she blew some red dust into my face. And I immediately felt my mind fog. I had been ensorcelled. That bitch! I turned to find two red-robed men facing me. One of them had a sack in their hands.
The Baroness would like a word.
I was too tired and baffled to fight back. All I could utter was, "The Baroness!" But that was all I could say before the sack went over my head and darkness took me.
After wandering through the maze for I do not know how long, but eventually I found what I was looking for. There you are!
I awoke in darkness. I didn't know where I was until the sack was taken off. And although the room was filled by candles, it was enough to hurt my eyes. I tried to get up, but I found myself tied to the table. What is...
Guten Nacht, Decay.
I looked up to see the woman walking towards me. She was wearing a flowing dress of red. I growled at her. "It's Decay, you bitch!" The crazy woman growled back at me.
You will refer to me as the Red Baroness,
She proceeded to do a Nazi salute.
leader of Herren des Dunklen Reiches.
I heard several people echo her words.
Herren des Dunklen Reiches. Herren des Dunklen
I now
Reiches.
knew who had me captive. The Herren des Dunklen Reichs were the Third Reich's magic division. I had faced off with them during the war. You can't be here. Your order was eliminated in the war.
That is what we wanted you to think. Our mission extends beyond the fatherland.
What does your mission have to do with me? She gave me a sly smile.
We wanted the amulet and to get our revenge for your meddling in our plans. I figured we could kill two birds with one stone. Speaking of killing birds...
She turned her attention to a red-robed figure.
Aleister!
The red-robed figure took off his hood to reveal a young man with short blonde hair and blue eyes. He looked as if he came out of the Hitler Youth poster. The Red Baroness pointed to me.
Would you do the honors?
The young cultist nodded.
Of course, Baroness.
I was growing concerned. Honors? What honors? The young cultist pulled a large dagger from his robe. He made his way towards me.
You have outlived your usefulness, detective.
The young cultist walked over to me. I struggled against my bonds, but it did not help. The young cultist stood over me with a knife held above his head. I cried out, "No, don't!" The young cultist brought the dagger down.
There you are. I stared in sadness as Darren's perfectly preserved remains laid in the glass case we put him in. I am so sorry. I promise I will make this up to you.